We're excited to announce our next podcast, Into the Time Knife, a Good Place Rewatch podcast, is coming to you live in your face, January 16th. Make sure you follow us wherever you get your podcast as soon as January 1st to get a little sneak peek of what's to come. We're also going to have brand new socials for the show, so make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at TimeKnifePod.
You'll still be able to support this podcast and all of our podcasts over at patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast, where you'll always be able to get our current podcast a week early, our live pre-show You Can't Dis a Pre-Show, episodes of Brokeback Bebop, and any other exclusive Patreon podcast coming that way.
Don't forget to still stay tuned on the Can't Disappoint podcast feeds on Twitter at You Can't Disapod, on Instagram at Can't Disappoint Podcast to stay up to the minute with any community movie news, any new interviews, or hot ear to the pavement info coming to you live and in action, as well as all our awesome memes and interactions with you guys there too.
We want to thank you all so much for supporting this show, by listening to it, by becoming a patron, by following us on social media. And we're so excited to move on to The Good Place and to see what this new podcast, this new year will bring for us. So we hope you'll be following us along on this journey.
Yeah, thanks guys for walking with us so far, and we hope you keep those little piggies right next to ours as we walk our way to this Good Place market.
You could say that they could never disappoint us.
I get it.
Can I get a marker? Can I get a tape reeling?
Boom
Lights,
on set, boom on camera. Get the boom out of the way.
Movie top 5 ranking list.
Hold on, Zach. We can see your nipple. Can I get some nipple covers over
We
here
got a
for
nipple
Zach?
in the shot.
Can I get some nipple covers for Zach?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need some big old, big. I need absorbent nipple covers now.
We might
for
as
Zach.
well just get my handler. Just stay on set a few feet away.
Gustavo,
Thank
can you
you.
please? Can you take care of that? That's why you're here. Come on.
Guys,
Thanks, buddy.
It's a big day here on You Can't Disappoint a Podcast because we're here to do the final in our series of Community Superlative podcasts. We've been dropping these for almost the last 2 months. It's been a lot of fun. We've talked a lot about how much we like making lists of things. It's really scratched a satisfying itch in my brain to do these, and I'm a little bummed out that we're on the last one, but I'm also a little bummed out / really excited and happy because this is the penultimate weekly episode of You Can't Disappoint a Podcast.
Wow, that's like, I kind of forgot that, but that's true.
We'll
This
talk
is
a little
the
bit
last,
more about it.
weekly community thing that just you and I are doing together.
Well, there's one more next week. We've got the roundtable next week.
But
It's
that's not
done.
just you and I. Did you miss the key part of that sentence?
Baby, it doesn't matter who else is in the room. It's always just you and me. But you're right.
Nebraska.
And obviously, even
Remember that song?
the ending has a softness to it because, we kind of cried a little bit when we did the last episode of Community.
I more than kind of cried on that episode.
And now we're ending this, but we know there's more Community coming. At any time, we could have something to talk about here. And we know that we've got our next podcast, Into the Time Knife, coming up very soon. So there's a lot of excited in my bittersweet. But let's introduce ourselves. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I hope this isn't the first time you're listening to us, but if it is, I'm Zach.
Imagine.
It's nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Steven. Nice to meet you. Enchanté. The pleasure is all mine. Or as my
Charmed,
grandmother
I'm
said
sure.
when she came to visit me in France, Mon plaisir.
That's one of the first facts I ever learned about you is that you lived in France for a while.
I
but
did.
I still kind of don't believe you.
That's fair. I never talk about it. Whenever I do, it sounds like a bit.
No, I don't even think it's that. Oh, but maybe it is because it's like such a no big deal thing about your life. Like most people would be like, I lived in France for a while, no big deal. But you literally are like, I lived in France for a while, no big deal. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you feel that way?
I don't know. I feel like I've had so many different phases of my life that was like
You were a
so
kid.
long ago for me. I mean, I was a teenager, preteen.
Really? Well, it was before I
formative
knew you. I
years.
guess we were full on
Yeah,
teenagers. when we
it
met
was
each other.
my 7th grade year.
I still say that's you're a kid. But
I
an
was
old enough
12.
kid for it to get into those grooves.
I was 12. I was old enough. I
12's a man. That's old enough.
You can drink and buy cigarettes. You can kill a guy when you're 12 in Europe. It's all good. You can have your dick out at the beach when you're 12 in Europe. It's all good.
All right. Well, let's start off the episode, as always, by shouting out our $10 and up patrons over at patreon.com/.
Saw a lot of old lady boobs.
Those people are Mary Baker Budisa, Danny M. Lugo. We've got Planeswalker Prez. We've got, I don't have the list up. I'm kind of just throwing them out there. Who else we got? Brandon Folkemer. We got Emmy Azrael. Conversations with Robbie Sherman. Am I forgetting anybody?
Did you say Planeswalker Prez?
I think so.
Thanks, guys, for sending us money every month.
And, of course, we've got to shout out our Community Papa. At Communities on Twitter. We've only got a few more of these weekly installments in How Far Can We Go. You got anything in your mind? What's Papa doing to you these days?
You know, most recently, Papa showed up at my home dressed like Sporty Spice, and it worked for me. The black sweatpants, the see-through white T-shirt, or the crop top, really, no sleeves. I was all about it, you know. As Pop Communities on Twitter always told us growing up, if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. And after his friends came through and had their way, I got some real tender time with Pop.
Like, we found a loophole, now you gotta. Thanks, Communities, for everything you've done for us, everything you've done for the community fandom. We love you a lot, Pops. We'll see you next week. Wink.
My dream, Zach, is that, you know, I'm manifesting that there's a, you know, community movie presser thing, and a bunch of the people get invited, including us, and then Matt gets a +1, and, you know, he's like, you know, this would be a real special bonding time for me and my son. And then we meet Matt and his biological son, and we take a family photo. That's what I want. I was thinking, where I went with that is that he gets a +1. He invites his actual son, but we'll put a stop to that somehow. We'll do a heist. And we show up instead. What I'm saying is you and I show up. +1. We show up in a long trench coat. Who's on whose shoulders? Well, this becomes... I've never liked to reveal in our relationship. What if we do like a horse thing? I don't think we've ever explained to our listeners who is on top in our relationship. It doesn't work like that. It's more so an end-to-end situation for us. But if we're in a oh, you're talking now, I've lost what we're talking about. Trench coats, who's on top? So you, me, horse costume, +1 for daddy. Horse in a trench coat. After the movie, we'll really figure out who's on top. We'll find out. There's room in that horse for a third. Anything you want to talk about this week since we're talking about the community movie? Do you have any movies on your mind? Oh, did you see the recent movie trailers? This will be kind of old for other people. Did you see the Indiana Jones trailer or the new Mario trailer? I've seen the new Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer. Speaking of Chris Pratt. Was that a no on both counts? I saw that the new Mario trailer and the Indiana Jones trailer existed. I don't want to acknowledge that there's a new Indiana Jones movie coming because I thought that they did the fourth one and they were like, okay, maybe not again, and here we are. I don't know. You're bummed out about it. I love Indiana Jones, Zach. See, I love the first three, and I even can deal with the fourth one. I think it's fine. I think there's reason to be excited about this new one. The trailer was charming. That's cute. Well, Harrison Ford is a charming son of a bitch. I think more the reason is because Harrison Ford wanted to do it. Okay. And I think it's a way to now send off this franchise in hopefully a more satisfying way than the last one. And it's John Williams' final movie score. Final? Whoa, what? The man's 90. He will work until he dies. No, Zach. He's said that this is his final film score. Oh my god, that's worth putting a butt in a seat right there. Yeah. In the Mario movie, okay, Chris Pratt's voice is whatever. I'm Mario. You know, Jack honestly, Black casting though is incredible as Bowser.
In the new trailer, Chris Pratt's voice is a little better. I think it would not work for a movie to tell this hero's journey if it was like a facsimile of the video game voice. It needed to be like
Mario!
It needed to be like a guy's voice who can like slip into that. Like in the new trailer, he throws out a wahoo, and it kind of sounds like Mario. But I think it's okay that it's the voice of a guy. It didn't need to be Chris Pratt. That's a little annoying. But I don't think that's not at all enough to take down my excitement, because the movie looks so fun.
It looks
the new
gorgeous
trailer,
too.
You should look at the new trailer. It's stuffed with details, things that it shows it's going to incorporate from the video games that I didn't quite expect.
Oh, cool. Well, that's going to be fun.
Excited for both of those films.
The new Guardians of the Galaxy,
Are you excited?
3 trailer looks really good. I am. I'd be more excited if I weren't kind of not the biggest Chris Pratt fan these days due to all of his super conservative stuff. Yeah. But the movie looks great. I actually got a little emotional in the trailer because they're, without spoiling anything for non-comic people, they're setting up some stuff that might see the end of a character that I like quite a bit. And then there was like a really cool scene with like a now maybe young adult version of Groot where he was like, "We are Groot," and was like shooting guns and shit. And that looks cool. So, always here for a Vin Diesel voice acting performance.
We're getting really close to Christmas, my friend, and I wanted to ask you if you watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
I saw that it exists, but I have not seen it. Have you?
No.
I
haven't seen any of the movies.
Oh, really? Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one's really awesome.
I haven't seen MCU movies since Iron Man 3. I have not seen anything that's come since Iron Man 3.
You haven't seen any of the Avengers stuff?
Not since the
Age
first
of
one.
Ultron?
I haven't seen Age of Ultron. I've seen the first Avengers.
Zach, are you kidding me? Infinity War and Endgame are like actually really good movies.
I believe it, but I don't care enough to watch just that one or to watch all of them at all. Don't care.
Okay.
I think it's great. I'll let anyone have it. It's
fair.
like how much people like. It's akin to. It's like the movie equivalent of like I don't like to watch sports on TV. It's really boring for me. It's not my thing. I would never take it away from anyone. But I'm also like I'd be torturing myself to go sit down with a bunch of people and actively watch it.
Wow. That's I knew that, but I always forget it. If nothing else, like Thanos is one of the best movie villains.
I believe you.
Full stop. But okay, that's fine.
I don't really
watch Black Panther 2. You don't need to see shit to understand that.
I haven't seen Black Panther 1.
Racist. Watch Black Panther 1.
I feel like that is one of the few that I
can
could
watch those independent of the Marvel movies.
And I have all these feelings of how much they're oversaturating the movie market, how dumb it is that like I don't know, that it's turned a movie series into like a TV show where there's just so much stuff and everything's interconnected.
Yeah,
and
Disney really said, we're going to get this bag.
You don't just go to a theater to see a blockbuster nowadays, and the only blockbusters that are getting I don't know, obviously we're in the world of Top Gun Maverick, which did really well. But I don't like the way Marvel oversaturates the market and how interconnected it all is.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of lame.
Well,
regardless
of
the quality of
lame.
the movies.
I'm excited for Avatar 2: Way of Water, but you haven't seen Avatar. Zach,
yes, I have.
You've seen it? Okay. I was sure you hadn't.
I would like to watch. I saw it when it was in theaters when it came out. And I haven't seen it since then. So I would like to watch it as an adult before I see the second one. But I fully intend on rewatching it and seeing the second one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the second one.
Yeah,
I'll surely go see it in the theater.
Christmas is a good movie time. Mm-hmm. It's fun to go to the movies. Like, movie theaters are often open on Christmas. I don't usually go on Christmas, but I like that I could. And I usually do, like, one of the days around Christmas that I have off, I'll go see a movie.
Yeah, I'll probably go see quite a few, like, the week after Christmas, because Danny, I think, is still going to be in Mexico, most likely. So I'll have some time on my hands. I'll just go see some movies. Use my AMC A-list.
Are you still a user of AMC A-list?
I am.
I guess I could bring this up for a second. I just signed up for the new Movie Pass. Movie Pass is back.
But it's not as good as it used to be, I'm sure.
No. To anyone who doesn't know, I guess we can fill up this time. I was thinking we'd talk about Christmas, but Christmas movies, let's talk about theater subscriptions for just a second.
Okay.
AMC A-List is great if you like to see movies and you have an AMC within driving distance. For $20 a month, maybe a few more dollars depending on your market, you can see 3 movies a week, every week, and you can see 3D, IMAX, Dolby, everything. And a lot of those formats, a ticket is $20.
Well, and you also gain like points
just for seeing movies, and you can get $5 for popcorn or drinks.
I
like
get
once
$5 every time I see a movie, basically, because
you also buy a few things.
Yeah, so every time I see a movie, I get not only a free ticket, but I normally every other movie will have $5 to $10 in rewards to then spend on snacks.
Now, it's a great theater. It's a great thing, and if you have an AMC, use it. But it only exists because of this company called MoviePass that you probably know about, that for a beautiful second, for $10 a month, you could see a movie every day. Now, it was just standard formatting, but you could see a movie every day, and that was worth it. $10 a month. That's less than the price of one ticket. And for a few months, it worked beautifully. But the company did not. I don't know what they thought that they were. Because there were so many people subscribed to it, but so many people were abusing it. And the company was more than draining money, and it went away. First, they made it really weird and added a bunch of stipulations to what you could do and couldn't do with it. And then it was just gone. And now it's back, and it's in beta testing, and I signed up to be a beta tester, and I'm already annoyed with it.
I'm surprised you signed up. Is it just because there's not an AMC close by?
The reason that it's nice is because I like to see all the Oscar movies, and AMC doesn't always get them, and they don't always get them early, and MoviePass isn't just one chain. You can see movies a lot of places. But there were 3 tiers you could sign up for, and I signed up for the second tier, and it maxes out at about 2 or 3 movies a month.
What the fuck?
For $20.
That's
less than the price of 2 or 3 tickets, but not enough to feel cool.
No.
Anyway, that's enough about that. Well, that's a great segue because we're talking about movies today.
We are.
A movie if I'm able to, a movie that if I'm able to, I will definitely not use a subscription service. I'm going to pay for my ticket. If there's
I
a
hope
way
to be seeing it in a theater for free, Zach.
Yeah. I will definitely be pirating
hey, don't know if you know who I am.
There's no way I'm signing. That's not true. We're community podcasters. That's awful. But there's no fucking way I'm signing up for Peacock. I think I get it free with Xfinity. I might not have to pay for it. Yeah. Did you pay for it though?
I pay a few dollars a month.
Why? To watch The Office?
Danny can watch The Office, even though I bought it for her on DVD. But
Well,
I honestly got it to watch soccer because they show Premier League soccer on Peacock.
Today, what we're here to talk about is the last community superlative, our last topic.
Zach, you want to watch a soccer game with me on Peacock? No. A British soccer club league game with me?
I would be slightly more willing to watch Captain America and the Chamber of Secrets with you instead of a soccer game. Just because of how long. They're both pretty long, but how long?
Sure.
Nah, not for me.
About the same amount of shirtless men.
Okay. Today we're talking about the top 5 community movie must-haves, and it's an interesting topic to discuss because we made this list of the 7 superlative episodes we're doing months ago before the community movie was announced. So I thought this was going to be a fun exercise in our dreams. If they made a community movie, what would we like in it? And we could get silly with it and kind of come up with plot lines. But it's a totally different list now because the community movie's happening, and it's like a monkey paw. It's like, obviously my list means nothing.
It is just like a monkey paw.
It's like, what am I going to wish for?
Yeah. Am I going to wish for an antidote into the disease?
I don't have any honorable mentions or anything for this list. Do you? Do you just have your 5?
One thing that I didn't put that, because we talked about this off pod, but I'll restate it. My list is definitely much more like just things I'm hoping I get to see, as opposed to things that I'm like, put this in the movie. That Absolutely, some of this stuff is probably for sure going to happen. Some of it might not. But one thing that I didn't put in my top 5 is I'm really looking forward to seeing is I know that it's going to just make my heart so happy, especially for our friendship and what this show means to me and us, but
and what we've done with it. This show's a part of us forever now.
Yeah, as soon as Troy and Abed do a a handshake, it's gonna really make me just filled with joy.
I think whether I'm totally won over or because who are we kidding? It's Community. We all love this show so much. No matter what we do, no matter what they do,
we're gonna eat this shit up.
After it settles, there will probably be a few things where we're like, well, why did they do that? Maybe they could have done this instead. That's just how it's gonna be. But aside from that, I know the second it starts, I'm gonna have tears, just involuntary tears to see Community.
The second I hear that first bit of Ludwig music going over the background, or if they start with like a different version of the intro song, whatever it is, it's gonna make me feel a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's get into our list. This is a pretty easy list to run through for me, and mainly, and I'm already feeling this. This is just a great little preamble to get excited for to get more excited again for the Community movie that it's happening. We're gonna get to watch a Community movie.
Yeah, that's crazy,
nuts, and I'm so excited. Do you want to kick it off with your number 5?
Sure. My number 5 is something that I'm excited for and that I think would be very easy to work in and can very realistically happen. A LeVar Burton cameo. I think it's going to be really funny to see that. I think that I want to see him interact with the group. I want to see if Troy interacts better with him now than he did before. Either way, it'll be funny. And
when
I love
he
LeVar
leaves,
Burton,
it was no problem. That was old Troy. I'm the clone. I can talk to you, no problem. Oh, his character is really tied to how Troy left.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good chance they're definitely going to at least call attention to him, whether or not he actually makes it. I hope he does too. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. My number 5 is almost not even about the movie. It's about the rollout of the movie. My number 5 is I need to see this movie in a theater.
Yeah.
I need to see it in a theater.
Not this list, but I agree.
But of my must-haves for the Community movie is that when I see it, I'm in a theater with a bunch of Community fans.
Okay. I'll back off. I'll pull the fangs back in.
I understand why you feel that way, but this list can mean anything.
Sure.
And
we make the rules.
I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I think hopefully, and maybe not because we're just two assholes, but maybe because we have like a little bit of sway in the Community podcasting sphere and we know a couple of people, maybe we will get to go to one of the only couple of screenings of it. But I want all of these Community fans that have been dying for this movie for years, that have known it longer than I have, that know it better than I have. I want at least like the 15 major cities to have like a weekend where they show the Community movie, or a night where they show the Community movie.
I think both of us have experienced, if not midnight releases, first week releases of movies. Like, for me, the ones that come to mind are seeing the Avengers opening weekend and being in a theater full of people cheering and reacting and standing up in their overalls and going, "That's Captain America, boy!"
Yeah.
Moments like that of like the whole crowd being engaged. I remember one of the Harry Potter movies, Watchmen, seeing that late like that. Some of the Star Wars stuff. It's such a cool atmosphere, and Community means just as much, if not more to me than most of those.
Yeah,
and so experiencing
Especially
that in a theater
now.
Full of people that have the
just
same
the
feelings.
Time spent in the theater before and after the movie of like striking up conversations with people talking. I need to see this movie in a theater for my own sanity, and I really want everybody that wants this movie so bad to see in a theater. But here are my thoughts. There is precedent for streaming movies to be shown in theaters, but typically it's when they want to be awards eligible. Because there are stipulations to where you have to have shown in at least this many theaters for this long. And I don't think Community movie is going to be asking for any Oscars or anything. But who knows? Maybe for some of the smaller ones. But I do think like Golden Globe or something.
Yeah.
But I do think the vibe is very much more this is like a TV movie on a streamer, which I'm totally fine with and down for. And I don't know if I think Peacock is going to want every one of those Community fans to sign up for Peacock and to pay for it without ads to watch the movie. I don't know what the gain is for them other than goodwill of fans to make the expense to put it in theaters for a while. But I want it so bad.
I do too.
Go ahead. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is just Frankie. I want Paget Brewster to maybe even more than just a cameo. I'd like her to be an integral part of the core group. I think she fit in better than most did when it came to being a staple of the show. I think probably better than anyone else that wasn't there when the show started. You know, I think she came in and was a part of the team right away. I think that she's so great. Also, I don't know, I follow her on Twitter, and she like
She's
they're
like, I'd
filming
like to do it.
Criminal Minds right now, and her hair is like super like gray, and, and it looks so cool. So I think that gray-haired Frankie being a badass, awesome, hilarious person in the movie is something that I'm really excited to hopefully see.
I feel like unless for some reason she just cannot be there.
Yeah.
Frankie's piece in the school in the years since season 6, I don't think it would make sense if she's not there.
Yeah. Maybe Frankie's becoming the new dean.
Maybe I'm God. I'm going to talk about my number 4, which
let's hear it. What's your number 4, Zach?
More than any specific plot points or any like relationships I want to see revisited, more than anything, what I want out of this movie in my number 4 is for it to be fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. I don't care if they don't have 1,000 amazing jokes. I don't care. That's not true. I do care. But more than like a sappy love fest, I want it to be so funny that I'm crying from laughing.
Yeah,
because
me too.
The best jokes in this show do that, and I want this just to be stuffed with that. I want the writers to really... I want all those quips. I want the focus to be on the jokes.
Yeah. I like that, Zach. I'm hoping for that as well. My number 3 is kind of a double... but it broader. I'm excited to see the. I don't remember the exact. I don't remember the name they give them. Like all the people that are outside the city. The meat puppets. I'm excited for Magnitude's one of my favorite characters of the show. I need a pop.
Yeah,
and I'd love a Garrett
after
scream.
all we've been through as a country.
Yeah.
Since this show went off the air,
we need a pop. But I'm excited for the impending Garrett scream.
Yeah.
Whatever sets off the main storyline of the movie in motion. You know, whatever the conflict is going to be. I hope that it's just brought on by an epic Garrett scream.
Or like what if the movie ended kind of like the bear dance episode where like everything's solved, everyone's happy, and then Garrett is the one person who notices the thing that's actually going on and yells it directly into the camera. End of movie.
Send it to print. What's your number 3, Zachary?
My number 3, it doesn't have to be solely this, but I want at least a chunk of the movie to be a Greendale-centric plot.
Yeah.
I want a solid amount of the movie. Now, because I feel like when you make a movie, the idea is for the adventure to go bigger than the school. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure it will, and I hope it does, but I want to spend at least 20, 30, 40 minutes in the school that we miss and love.
Yeah, 100%.
That's my number 3. Greendale. Need to see the school a lot.
My number 2, this is the only... Well, I guess not. But this is, the plot heaviest of my list. I want to see like an original adventure. I don't want to see a paintball. I don't want to see
They're doing this movie.
Yeah. I don't necessarily want to see like an homage because I think I would love some tidbits of homage. I'd love some references.
Well, it needs to be an adventure that allows for tons of allusions to things, but not the movie was the Lord of the Rings thing or the movie was the Star Wars thing.
I want
it needs to be something that allows for a little bit of all of that.
100%.
Good call.
What about you, Zach? Your number 2.
My number 2, I think this is close to as important for me to the success of the movie as anything. We fucking need Ludwig Göransson to be doing the music for this.
Absolutely.
He is a guy that's in big demand. He's winning Oscars. He's doing all the Star Wars shows.
Just did a great job on the second Black Panther movie.
It wouldn't be inconceivable for the movie to be made without him, but I think to really get the emotional core of it right, you need original music that sinks back into the vibe of the old music from Ludwig. I think it's really important. I hope he's back.
I agree. My number 1 is an ending. I want, some resolution to these characters after this movie. They've grown. This is, about 10 years out. It's probably going to end up in the movie storyline, be 10 years after, is my guess. But it's 10 years after the show ended. I want to see what they're doing. I want to have them not still be, stumbling around looking for life. Not that this movie has to give them a conclusion to everything and solve all their problems, but I want the path
world goes
to be
on
clear.
after the movie. You're
because
right.
this is probably going to be the last bit of Community that we get.
If it's great, I hope it is. If the movie's great, I hope it is. And really, in general, I hope it is. An ending is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Kevin on our roundtable that said a lot of stuff about that. Or I don't know who, but I don't want the movie, and this is going off yours, this isn't my number one. I don't want it to, like, make something happen like the beginning of season 5 where all of the characters' lives suck.
Yeah.
I'm okay if some of the characters are happy at the beginning of this and stay happy throughout it, but there's still an adventure to be had. I want it to have an ending.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, I want it to be like, yeah, that's how Community ends. Great. My number one, though, kind of goes off a couple of things you said, is Chevy Chase notwithstanding. My number one is everybody.
Yeah.
I just want to see everybody that they can put in it. I want to see Frankie and Elroy. I want to see the janitor who wanted Troy to be a air conditioner repairman. I want to see every character that we love. I want to see Craig Kikowski. I mean, I could go on for forever.
I want Coogler.
Yes, I don't want the movie to be so in service of cameos that it takes away from the adventure.
Yeah.
But I hope it's like a Simpsons movie type thing where there's like 150 characters in Springfield and the movie's not about them, but they are all there. That's what I want. I worry a little bit with how big of a budget or what the size of this movie is going to be. I know there's a lot of love and a lot of interest, and I hope that leads to dozens of familiar faces. I want to see Rick again. I want to see Rich.
I want to see Dave.
I want to see Todd. All of it. I hope that everybody's there. Everyone, other than Pierce.
Correct.
Literally because he died.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to have to work with Chevy. But the character died. I definitely want a tribute to Pierce or a mention of Pierce.
Who I want?
Who do you want?
Fuck, of course.
don't.
I literally just forgot.
You don't either.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, sure. Gilbert. That'd be an interesting way to catch up on a character that's connected to Pierce without Pierce. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be. And the more I say all these people that I want to see, the more I'm like, well, that takes 5 minutes out of the main plot or whatever. But I don't care. I want to see all of my favorite Greendale faces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of all of our favorite Greendale faces, let's get into the lists that were sent to us this
Greendale faces. Greendale faces.
So we're going to get into the list that were sent in by our beloved listeners for this final Community Superlative. But before we do, I want to highlight last week talking about the top 5 Community songs. We neglected to
Don't you goddamn dare say we, Zach. This is you and your personal vendetta.
You're right. It was me.
You got
this whole
beef.
Superlative thing I've had beef with Jennifer, and I'm ready to put that aside and not neglect her lists anymore. Here's her top 5 songs that we missed last week. Jennifer's top 5 songs. So let's all go back in time to when we were talking about the music of Community for just a moment. Jennifer on top 5 songs, she says, this one is so hard. So much great music in Community, but I'll try. Her number 5 is We're Gonna Finally Be Fine. The song
great
at the
opening
beginning of
number.
season 3.
Sets the
that
tone
is a good one.
of weirdness.
Not a bad choice. Number 4, Payday Apology Rap. Of course, we had that one as well. Very good. I think I had that as number 4. Number 3, I should have thought about this one, the Ass Crack Bandit song, because it's done by one of my favorite musicians of all time, Ben Folds. Number 2, Kiss from a Rose.
That was on my list.
Good choice. And number 1, Daybreak.
I can't fault that. That's a great number 1.
She says, big honorable mention, all of the background music composed by Ludwig Göransson and linked to a Community medley track that you can listen to online that has a lot of the good bits of the score. There's some great stuff. And she also says, honorable mention, Pillar of Garbage, Somewhere Out There, the Microsoft Excel song, the French song, Jeff in the Box Christmas Exit song, and Christmas Infiltration, all good.
Great.
And probably many more she's forgetting right now. Also, her numbers 1 through 5 and honorable mentions could be just mixed up and put in different order depending on her mood, and I totally agree.
Yeah,
but that was the past. We're moving back into the present, talking about the top 5 movie must-haves. I just thought we've been too mean to Jennifer, and her list was really great, so we had to include it.
Thanks,
Steven,
Jennifer.
why don't you give us the first movie top 5?
Matt sent in a great top five movie must-haves, but it's on his blog, so we're gonna leave that link in the show notes.
It's a really great list. Really went in depth about the movie coming in the top 5 things. But you can go ahead and give us another one anyway. Give us.
And I want to do this one because the next one is from Jeffrey motherfucking Malone.
We've talked about him.
Jeffrey, last week you just kept hammering it home the beef that we've got. But let's read this from Jeffrey. Jeffrey's top 5 must-haves for the movie. What do you think, Jeffrey? If he says some shit that pisses me off, Zach, I might just lose it. Let's see. His number 5, bloopers in the end credits. Oh, I'm sure that's going to be hilarious. Putting these people back together.
That's a good idea.
That's a good one. Abed on the front of Wheaties boxes. Sure.
Just
Abed
as
the
like
athlete.
A promotional tie-in. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just because Abed is so fast. Maybe he's, a star athlete. Action figure merchandise tie-ins. That would be fun. Some like... I want to buff Dean wrestler. Yeah. That'd be fun.
With a button that does something.
Yeah. Can't even wait to see. The cast and crew making in-person post-screening interview appearances. Well, sure. That'd be great. Seeing a press junket with all this crew interacting in different combinations and doing all the shows. That'd be fun. And number 1, I think, is a great one. Zach, you had this one, but a worldwide theatrical release. That'd be awesome.
Going even bigger with it. We need it in every theater in the world.
Well, and it's funny, Zach, because I kind of gave you shit when you first said that, but it's because in my mind, I've only thought about watching it in the theater. It hasn't once crossed my mind.
And it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, and that's a wild thing, too. Mm-hmm. Why don't you take the next one, Zach?
All right, we've got correspondence from one of our favorites, Brandon Folkmer. His top 5 in no order, Choi and Shirley back in some capacity. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's going to happen. I really hope at least. Kind of like you saying, I've just assumed I'll see it in a theater. I just assume Troy and Shirley are going to be back. Beloved side characters return: Garrett, Neil, Vicky, Dave, etc.
I'd love to see Garrett, Neil,
from that list.
Dave back in the
etc.
etc.
At least some of the movies set at Greendale. Exactly my thoughts. I agree completely. Frankie, Elroy, and Hickey returning in some capacity.
I almost put on my list to have a Frankie Hickey interaction because that seems so funny to me.
There's an Easter egg in season 6 that Hickey's dead.
Yeah.
There's like an email that says like Professor Hickey, Buzz Hickey Memorial Cost or something. But maybe it's not. Maybe he's not. If
maybe he was getting it preemptively.
That's true. I'd love for him to come back, but that's why I didn't even think of it. What else we got? Assuming this is the last time we ever see them, like Steven said, a satisfying ending for the main characters. Boy, howdy, we better get it. I want all these people to be happy.
Great list, Brandon.
Everything else is gravy. Thanks, guys. Brandon, we've got one more, Steven.
All right. Jennifer. Good friend Jennifer. I love you, Jen. We're homies. Don't know about that Zach guy over there. Jennifer says, I can't say must-haves because I'm honestly going to be happy there's a movie, but top 5 movie wants, which I like that. Number 5, whatever it is, I just want it to be Community, the movie. It's no secret that I love this show, and I'm going to be happy to have more time with that world. I totally agree. Yes. Like you said, we're going to be happy. Whatever we get is going to give us emotions and feelings because of how we feel. But number 4,
and feelings because of how we feel,
right?
Yes.
Number 4, Paget Brewster / Frankie Dart. Such a great addition to season 6. Love her. Yeah, I agree. That was on mine. I love Frankie. So excited. Yvette Nicole Brown / Shirley. I love Shirley, and I'd love her getting to have more to do. I would love a plot that even centered around Shirley. I think that there are ways to do that could get the whole gang together.
Yeah, Community, the legend of Shirley's gold. Can't wait.
Imagine the movie is just Yvette Nicole Brown arguing with Dan Harmon over whether the noose was a black thing or a suicide thing. It was Boy Scouts all along. Number 2, Gillian Anderson. I love this idea. Perhaps as Annie's FBI partner or boss. That's actually really good. That's an easy tie-in.
Or my thought is for her, instead
Jeff's wife.
No, instead of an FBI partner, because that kind of plays to her type as the X-Files lady, what if Gillian Anderson is Annie's mother?
Is she old enough?
I think she's in her 50s.
Allison Bree's in her, 40s, isn't she? 30s?
Yeah, but Annie's younger.
That's fair. Okay. I'm not going to break your shine there.
I think Gillian Anderson could play Annie's mother.
That's hot. Number 1, Donald Glover / Troy. Return of Troy in some way. He have always wanted something about Troy and LeVar Burton being saved from pirates.
I kind of do too, but I kind of don't want that to be what the movie's about.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the easiest thing to make the movie about.
Well, and also they got captured by pirates like 10 years ago, so...
That's true. I feel like that's the easiest movie plotline, is everyone searching for Troy and they find him at the very end.
If Troy, like, ended up, like, you know, charming the pirates and he gets a lot of money out of it, and now Troy has even more riches, you know, and he's, like, just a billionaire at this point. Sure, I'll take that plotline.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. No, the thought I had, what if the whole movie, at the very end, they pull Force Awakens, and it's Troy in, like, a cloak, and he just takes the cloak down and looks in the camera but doesn't say anything, and everyone's like, we thought Luke Skywalker was going to be in this. That's not Luke Skywalker being in this. And that's the movie. That's how it ends.
That's the movie.
So thanks for the list, everyone.
Orchestra swells. And
for the last time... we're going to wrap up this community superlative. It's been a lot of fun doing these, Steven.
Yeah, it's been a blast, Zach. I'm really glad that we took the time after the show to do this. It was nice to get some, you know, closure's not the right word, but it's been nice to continue talking about community as we get ready for what comes next, which I'm super excited for.
I don't feel like we've over-talked community really at all, and I think it's good that we took this time to, like, literally talk about all the outside stuff and to really put it to bed as we move on. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, before we tell them where they can find this podcast, again, Into the Time Knife. The audio feed launches January 1st, and the first episode comes out Monday, January 16th. We'll be talking about every single episode of The Good Place over there at Into the Time Knife. You can follow it right now on Twitter and Instagram at Time Knife Pod, and I hope you seek it out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's getting a lot closer. It's feeling a lot more real. And we're both really excited about it. So follow along with us into the Time Knife. Steven, where can people find this one?
If you want to keep up to date with this show and get down and dirty on all the community deets, memes, and insider trading that we have to do with it, come over and follow us on Twitter over at You Can't Disapod. We're also on Instagram over at Can't Disappoint Podcast. We're also on Facebook and YouTube under the whole name of the show, You Can't Disappoint a Podcast, which we've got a community end of show roundtable, or I guess complete show roundtable coming up soon. So if you want to check out the video and all the fun stuff, check those out over on YouTube and Facebook, and you can see the whole thing.
If you want to see more of the whole thing, you can support us over on Patreon at patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast. Can't Disappoint Podcast, I think, is now kind of the name of our podcast network. I think from now on, when something comes out, it'll be a Can't Disappoint Podcast. I think that rolls off the tongue. I think it sounds really nice, and it's always going to be our home on Patreon, patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast. Over there, you can still get this show a week early as long as it's weekly. You could listen to our roundtable right now over on Patreon. You also get You Can't Disappreciate Show, which will continue as we move on to Into the Time Knife. You'll get that show a week early, even before it launches over on Patreon, along with Brokeback Bebop, our Cowboy Bebop rewatch podcast, which has been a lot of fun to do this year, that's nearing its end. All of that can happen for you right now for the low price of $5 to $50. Patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast. This has been great. That's the Community Superlatives done and dusted. The penultimate episode of the weekly iteration of You Can't Disappoint a Podcast done and dusted. Buddy, we've been doing this for better or worse pretty much every single week for a long time. We did it. We've done it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
We were consistent, and I think that says a lot. And I hope the consistency continues onward and upward. What do you think?
Me too, buddy. I love doing this, and thank you everyone for listening. Thank you for being here with me, pal. Love you.
From inside the Dreamatorium, Black Lives Matter, I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
And we'll see you next time.
Toodaloo!
Saturday night at the movies. Who cares what picture you see? When you're hugging with your baby, last row in the balcony. Well, there's Technicolor and the cinema scope. a guest out of Hollywood. And the popcorn from the candy stand makes it all seem twice as good.